The second thing that we told you we want you to think about is species appropriateness. And species appropriateness, my definition of biologic appropriateness or species appropriateness comes from looking, many of you know my undergrad degree was in wildlife management. So before I was a veterinarian, I was a wildlife biologist. And good research, Hendricks in 2013 studied natural self-selection of 50 wolves, what their stomach contents were. And what he found that wolves self-selected about 50% of their calories from protein, 50% from fat. Dogs, when allowed to select 30% protein, 60% from fat. But Dr. Mark Roberts in 2018 repeated that study and actually demonstrated that Haas and Hughes, which did this original testing in 2013, these results were true, but these were dogs that were fed kibble and then given ad libitum as much fat, protein, or carb as they want to eat. And because kibble is so depriving of critically important fats, the dogs gorged on fat for 2 weeks to make up their essential fatty acid deficiency. The study ended at 2 weeks. So Dr. Roberts had the brilliant idea, we're going to take kibble dogs and do this for 6 weeks. And what he found was that same thing, at 2 weeks the dogs gorged on fat to make up their dramatic fatty acid deficiencies. And then from week 2 to 6, the ratio went right back to their ancestral diet. 50% of calories coming from fat and 50% coming from protein. Kitties, so then this range, I guess, and so this, what I call this range between what wolves would eat and what dogs would eat, I call this biologically appropriate. Kitties are very similar. Indoor domestic house cats pick 52% protein, 32% fat. Outdoor feral cats mimic wolves. And cheetahs, interestingly, they did some great studies with cheetahs. Cheetahs and outdoor feral cats are basically the same little, not much evolution has occurred. Cheetahs are picking 50% of their calories from fat and 50% from protein. So what does this mean for 2.0 pet parents? Most of you know that dogs and cats don't have a carbohydrate requirement. They don't need any corn, wheat, rice, tapioca. They can eat it. And the reason that they can eat it and digest it fine is that about 30,000 years ago, through the domestication process, when the agricultural revolution hit humans, we shared our maize, our corn. We shared our food with our beloveds. So guess what? Their pancreas upregulated production of amylase to be able to process our free corn. Yay for evolution, right? They would have died off 30,000 years ago. Dogs and cats are wildly adapted, and their bodies are brilliantly created for a tremendous amount of nutritional variability. They can really ride out nutritional storms well. So can they process carbohydrates? Yes. Is it metabolically stressful for them? Yes. And what they would be eating in the wild, as Dr. Richard Patton says, is far less than 12%, at most during gorging. The most carbohydrate dogs and cats would ever consume would be 12%. So when we look at grains being 70% soluble carbohydrate and the average bag of kibble being 50, that is not biologically appropriate. Will animals survive? Yes. Will they get type 2 diabetes? Yes. Will they get fat and get cancer? Yes. What do we see as veterinarians day in and day out? Degenerative conditions caused by a contributing factor of inappropriate nutrition. For my veterinary friends in the audience, we were taught in vet school that a calorie is a calorie. And nothing can be further from the truth. My fellow functional medicine veterinarians in the audience know this, that a calorie coming from fat is not the same as a calorie coming from protein, carbohydrate, or roughage. It's viewed totally different in the body. So what doctors say, functional medicine doctors, is isocaloric does not mean isometabolic, which means fat prompts a lipase release in the body. Protein sparks mTOR, right? It turns on cellular regeneration. It turns on cellular division. Carbohydrates spark IGF and insulin release, followed by a cortisol release. And roughage sparks short-chain fatty acids in terms of building microbiome. They function totally different. So when you have veterinarians, many of them, my dear veterinary nutritionist friends, say a calorie is a calorie. Well, no, that is not true. A calorie really isn't a calorie.